Very good morning, dear students. Myself, Dr. Nitika Kapoor from PG Department of Botany, Hansraj Mahila Mahavidyalaya, Jalandhar. So today we will discuss about the one of the important aspects of the respiration, that is glycolysis. So in respiration, the soluble respiratory substrates are broken down into simpler compounds in order to release energy. The soluble respiratory substrates are mainly glucose and fructose, which are obtained from the complex carbohydrates by either hydrolysis or phosphorylation. The breakdown products of fats and proteins normally do not form starting point of the respiration. They enter the respiratory chains as intermediates. There are mainly two pathways by which respiration can be completed. One is the common pathway, other is the pentose pathway. So under this common pathway, there are three basic substages are there, like glycolysis, step cycle or fermentation, and terminal oxidation. Now the first stage, that is your glycolysis, is similar for the both aerobic and anaerobic type of respiration. Whereas Krebs cycle operate under aerobic condition through the agency of mitochondria, and fermentation is the second stage under anaerobic condition. And at the last, a terminal oxidation occurs only in case of the aerobic respiration. So here in present topic, we will discuss about this glycolysis, that is first step of this respiration common pathway, that is Embden-Meyerhof pathway. So glycolysis is also called as a Embden-Meyerhof pathway or EMP pathway that takes place in the cytoplasmic cytosol. And this pathway is one of the aspects which is occur both in aerobic pathway as well as in case of the anaerobic. So glycolysis means sugar splitting, that it partially breaks down 6 carbon glucose molecules into 2 molecules of 3 carbon pyruvate acid. So glycolysis is divided into two phases. Number one is the preparatory phase and second is the payoff phase. In case of preparatory phase, glucose is broken down to glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate, whereas in payoff phase, this glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate is changed into pyruvate, producing NADPH and ATP, which ultimately yield the energy by circulating through this ETS chain. So first is the preparatory phase. So in case of the preparatory phase, this starch in the presence of inorganic phosphate and enzyme phosphorylase, it changes into glucose 1-phosphate. Now this glucose 1-phosphate is changes into phosphoglucomutase in the presence of enzyme. This phosphoglucose mutase is changes into glucose 6-phosphate. Now this glucose 6-phosphate may also be generated if there is a directly glucose is present in the cell with the help of the enzyme hexokinase and in the presence of ATP and magnesium. Now this glucose 6-phosphate changes into fructose 6-phosphate with the help of enzyme, that is your hexophosphate isomerase, and this fructose 6-phosphate is further changes into the fructose 1,6-diphosphate in the presence of enzyme phosphofructose kinase, and by using the ATP molecule which used to donate the inorganic phosphate. Now in addition to this fructose 6-phosphate can also be generated from the fructose plus ATP in the presence of enzyme hexokinase and magnesium. Now this fructose 1,6-diphosphate is basically act as one of the major point where it is 6 carbon, this fructose 1,6-diphosphate in the presence of enzyme aldolase it changes into 2 molecules which are of 3 carbon each. One is the dihydroxyacetone 3-phosphate, other is the glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate, which both are interconvertible in the presence of enzyme triose phosphatase isomerase. Now next is the payoff phase. So in case of the payoff phase, this glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate or your dihydroxyacetone 3-phosphate, as these both you can say molecules, they are move on separately and parallel to each other. So this glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate is changes into 1,3-diphosphoglycerate in the presence of enzyme glyceraldehyde phosphate dehydrogenase, and as there is a dehydrogenation of this glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. So this hydrogen which is released here is used to reduce this reducing substance, that is your NAD, into NADH plus hydrogen. So after this 1,3-diphosphoglycerate is further changes into 3-phosphoglycerate. So one of the phosphate moiety which is removed from this 1,3-biphosphoglysrate is used to change this ADP to ATP in the presence of enzyme phosphoglycerate kinase. Always remember, kinases are used to cause phosphorylation of any particular substrate. Now this 3-phosphoglycerate is further mutase. Mutase means just there is a rearrangement of the phosphate moiety from the third position to the second position. That is, it helps in generation of 2-phosphoglycerate in the presence of enzyme phosphoglycerate mutase. Now this phosphoglycerate 2-phosphoglycerate is further changes into phosphoenol pyruvate with the help of the enzyme enolase by the process of the dehydration, where there is a removal of the water molecules in the presence of magnesium ion. Now this phosphoenol pyruvate is further changes into this pyruvate molecule in the presence of this magnesium ion and potassium ion, and the phosphate moiety which is released from this phosphoenol pyruvate is used to change this adenosine diphosphate to the adenosine triphosphate. So as you can see, there is generation of the energy at this step, and ultimately this phosphoenol pyruvate is changes into the pyruvate. So here we show the two molecules of the pyruvate because there is simultaneously, you can say, progress of the two molecules of this 3-carbon compound. One is your glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate, which we have shown here, this one, and second is the dihydroxyacetone 3-phosphate. So that's why there is production of the two molecules of the 3-carbon pyruvate. Next is the net product of the glycolysis. So in glycolysis, as we seen in the previous flow chart of this glycolysis, that there is generation of the two molecules. There are, you can say, two molecules of the ATP. They are consumed during double phosphorylation of the glucose to form fructose 1,6-diphosphate, and in return the 4 molecules of ATP are produced by substrate level phosphorylation in 6th and 9th step of the glycolysis. So 2 molecules of NADPH are also formed in step 5 by the acceptance of the 2 hydrogen ions and 4 electrons by the 2 molecules of NAD formed. So as you know, this ATP and NADPH, they are known as the simulatory power, as they are, you can say, reserve house of the energy. So you can see here the net yield of the whole process is the 2 ATP molecules and 2 NADH molecules plus 2 hydrogen ion for each glucose molecule, which is oxidized to the 2 molecules of the pyruvate. Now each NADPH2 is approximately it is equivalent to the 3 ATP. So the net gain the glycolysis is 8 ATP. So this entire process can be expressed by this reaction, that is 1 molecule of the glucose in the presence of the 2 moles of NAD positive and 2 inorganic phosphate and 2 ADP changes into the 2 molecules of the pyruvate, 2 NADPH, that is reduced form of the NAD positive, and 2 molecules of the ATP are generated here, and 2 water and 2 hydrogen ion. So in addition to generation of this assimilatory power in the form of the NADPH or the ATP, the other intermediates which are produced during glycolysis, they are used for the synthesis of the important biomolecules also. So this is the flow, you can say, tabulated total input and total output. So here you can say that 1 molecule of the glucose which is input here, and for that we get the 2 molecules of the pyruvate which are of 3 carbon each. So you can see here that 2 into 3 carbon, that is equivalent to the 6 carbon, and 2 ATP are utilized, and instead of this 4 ATP are produced here, 4 ADP are added, and you get the 2 ADP, you can say, they are output, and there is involvement of the 2 NAD positive, and they are changes into the 2 moles of the NADH plus 2 hydrogen. And in addition to this, there is consumption of the 2 inorganic phosphate, and there is the generation of the 2 molecules of the water. So that's all for glycolysis. Thank you.